Thank you. The next item of business is portfolio questions, and portfolio this afternoon is social justice. And at question number 1, I call Mark Ruskell.
Thank you again, Presiding Officer. To ask the Scottish Government whether it will provide an update on its discussions with the UK Government regarding the Asylum Right to Work pilot proposal, in light of the Home Office reportedly stating that it is unable to commit to exploring the feasibility of this proposal.
Minister Cook-Abstewart.
Thank you, Presiding Officer. I wrote to the UK Government in November urging them to engage with us following the publication of our Asylum Right to Work pilot proposal. In January, they responded that they were unable to commit to explore the proposal. Following further exchange of correspondence, the UK Government agreed to meet to discuss. I have accepted this offer, but a date has not yet been scheduled. I remain very keen to discuss the pilot and would also like to discuss improvements to the current policy for granting permission to work for people seeking asylum.
Mark Ruskell.
Well, can I thank the Minister for that positive answer? Because without the right to work, people seeking asylum here in Scotland are being forced into poverty. While the architects of this hostile environment are undoubtedly the UK Government, here in Scotland we need to use all our powers to counter this. The Scottish Government has promised to roll out free bus travel to people seeking asylum who are, of course, unable to work. But we have been waiting and talking about this for 2 years, and we're yet to see any progress on delivery, Minister. The excessive cost of transport directly contributes to poverty. I know the Minister knows this. Free bus travel would remove this financial strain and help to reduce poverty. So, with the scheme now anticipated, I believe, to launch, can the Minister confirm that it will actually be delivered before the end of this parliamentary session?
Minister.
Thank you. Mr Ruskell makes the case very well. Following the passing of the 25-26 budget, in February we were able to confirm in the programme for government plans for a £2 million national pilot to support free bus travel for people seeking asylum this financial year. Transport Scotland reconvened a working group with the third sector and local authorities in May to help inform how this can be delivered, including considering how to maximise value and benefits from the funding. Scottish ministers also previously committed to explore extension of concessionary travel for people seeking asylum by the end of this Parliament, and this exploratory work will continue in parallel with design and delivery of a pilot.
Question number 2, James Dornan. Mr Dornan is joining us remotely.
To ask the Scottish Government what it's doing to ensure women who share a lease in a social or private tenancy with their abuser aren't left homeless if they're forced to flee due to domestic abuse.
Cabinet Secretary Mary McCallum.
Presiding Officer, as part of the Housing Scotland Bill, Measures to Prevent Homelessness, we will introduce a duty on all social landlords to develop and implement a domestic abuse policy. This should set out how they support their tenants experiencing such abuse, and it includes keeping the tenant in their home and removing the perpetrator if that is what they want. We'll also update the definition of a domestic abuse as it applies in housing to take account of an increased understanding of what actually constitutes domestic abuse. And the bill also introduces a duty on social landlords to fully consider domestic abuse and support individuals experiencing it if it's causing any financial arrears before any legal action to recover possession of a property on account of rent arrears can be taken forward.
James Dornan.
I thank the Cabinet Secretary for that answer. But given that domestic abuse is the leading recorded cause of women presenting as homeless in Scotland, accounting for around 23% of female-headed homelessness applications in 23-24, can you tell me what further specific steps have been taken to ensure safe, stable and immediate housing options are available to survivors?
Always to the Chair, Cabinet Secretary.
Presiding Officer, the member is correct, and I would stress that supporting victim survivors of domestic abuse is a priority for this government and something which personally I'm very committed to. I mentioned some of what the Housing Bill provides in that regard. I'd also mention that we continue towards bringing the Part 2 of the Domestic Abuse Scotland Act 21 into force, hopefully by December this year. The measures in this Act mark a critical shift in preventing women's homelessness in the first place by giving social landlords greater control to transfer tenancies to a victim survivor. However, as I say, Presiding Officer, I place great priority in protecting the housing rights of women and children and those suffering domestic abuse, so I'm always open to new ways that we can do that.
And supplementary, Megan Gallagher.
Thank you, Presiding Officer. During the Stage 2 proceedings of the Housing Scotland Bill, I submitted amendments that sought to strengthen the Scottish Social Housing Charter. The amendments specifically looked at the relationship between a social landlord and an individual who they believe may have experienced or were at risk of or are experiencing domestic abuse. Given the Charter was created in 2010, I believe this is an opportunity for the Housing Bill to strengthen support for women, especially if they are at risk of being homeless. I was pleased to hear that the Cabinet Secretary said that the Government was going to introduce amendments at Stage 2, but I hope the Cabinet Secretary means that she's going to work with members who submitted those amendments at Stage 2 to make sure they pass at Stage 3.
Cabinet Secretary.
Thank you, Presiding Officer. Just on the latter point there, I will absolutely work with members in respect of decisions that were made to work together between Stage 2 and Stage 3. I'll absolutely be picking that up, and I'll be glad to speak with Megan Gallagher. She mentions the Charter. I think this is just one way in order to do that, but I'll be very pleased to discuss it with her.
Thank you. Question number 3 has been withdrawn. Question number 4, Liam MacArthur.
Thank you, Presiding Officer, and apologies first to you and to the Chamber for my late arrival for this portfolio questions. To ask the Scottish Government what engagement it's had with Orkney Islands Council regarding any support needed to allow development projects to be taken forward to tackle the reported growing demand for housing on the islands.
Cabinet Secretary Mary McCallum.
Presiding Officer, the Scottish Government has had 10 formal meetings involving the Orkney Islands Council since January this year to discuss affordable housing, the most recent of which were with development partners on the 5th and 12th of June. The Scottish Government has also attended 3 housing market partnership meetings with the local authority, key delivery partners and local contractors in January, March and May to discuss the housing strategy and its delivery. To help meet housing need, we are providing £3.6 million for the Orkney Isles through the Affordable Housing Supply Programme in this year's budget.
Liam MacArthur.
Thank you. Can I thank the Cabinet Secretary for that answer, which does confirm the ongoing engagement there has been with Orkney Islands Council, which I very much welcome. They are, as the Cabinet Secretary will be aware, at a key stage in terms of the taking forward of those projects. In that context, I would very much welcome her agreement to visit Orkney, to meet not just with Orkney Islands Council and their partners, but also those who are taking forward many of the community housing projects that the Minister Paul McLennan, who I pay tribute to for that engagement, saw firsthand when he visited Orkney last year. But I think it's a critical time, and as I say, I would welcome that commitment from the Cabinet Secretary.
Cabinet Secretary.
Presiding Officer, I agree with Liam MacArthur, and as I've stressed the engagement that's already taken place. I understand that since the start of this Parliament there's been 144 homes completed across Orkney, supported by about £11 million in grant through our Affordable Housing Supply Programme, and this of course has been supplemented by 30 homes through the Islands Housing Fund. But I recognise the ongoing challenges and the demand that requires to be met, and I'll be very glad to both discuss this with Liam MacArthur and visit him and others in Orkney when I'm able.
Question number 5, Evelyn Tweed.
Thank you, Presiding Officer. To ask the Scottish Government what is its response to the recent ILGA Europe Rainbow Index of LGBTI equality laws, which shows that the UK, including Scotland, has fallen from first place in 2015 to second worst this year.
Minister Cook-Stewart.
Thank you. The Scottish Government is a progressive government, one which has equality at the heart of our policies and our actions. We are disappointed that the UK has fallen in the recent ILGA European Rainbow Index of LGBTI equality laws. The Scottish Government remains committed to delivering equality for all people in Scotland, including the LGBTQI+ community. While much of equality law itself is reserved to the UK Government, our 2025-26 programme for government committed to creating safe spaces for the LGBTQI+ community, funding work that tackles discrimination and upholds the human rights of this group, including through the Equality and Human Rights Fund, progressing actions within the Non-Binary Equality Action Plan and taking forward our commitment to ending conversion practices. We continue to work closely with the LGBTQI+ stakeholders as we progress this work.
Evelyn Tweed.
I thank the Minister for that answer. ILGA Europe and Scottish LGBTQ+ organisations are calling on political leaders to lead by example. What steps are the Scottish Government taking to improve the lives of LGBTQ+ people in Scotland?
Minister.
Thank you, and thank you for the opportunity from Evelyn Tweed to reaffirm the Scottish Government's commitment to advancing equality for LGBTQI+ people and promoting and protecting and realising the rights of every LGBTQI+ person in Scotland. We are providing funding of over £1.1 million to organisations working to promote LGBTQI+ equality in Scotland in 25-26. This supports a range of projects to tackle inequality and realise the rights of LGBTQI+ people across all areas of Scottish life. We are working to implement our Non-Binary Equality Action Plan and take forward our commitment to ending conversion practices including on the basis of gender identity. We will continue to work with a wide range of third sector organisations to ensure that the voices of those with lived experience can help to improve the outcomes for LGBTQI+ communities across Scotland.
Question number 6 has not been lodged. Question number 7, Jackie Dunbar.
Thank you, Presiding Officer. To ask the Scottish Government how it is supporting tenants in Aberdeen to protect and enhance their rights to a safe, secure and affordable place to live.
Cabinet Secretary Mary McCallum.
Presiding Officer, the First Minister has been clear that housing is a priority for this Government, and with my appointment as Cabinet Secretary for Housing, I am firmly committed to that and to supporting tenants' rights as part of it. This Government has already started taking a range of actions to support tenants, including those in Aberdeen. This includes investing £768 million in affordable housing this year alone, taking forward measures in the housing bill, some of which I've mentioned, in support of the introduction of longer-term rent controls, strengthening tenants' rights and tackling disrepair in homes.
Jackie Dunbar.
The impact which inadequate and unaffordable housing has on child poverty levels is clear. Can the Cabinet Secretary please outline how the Scottish Government are taking action now and in the immediate future to work towards eradicating child poverty through improvements to housing?
Cabinet Secretary.
We know how central housing is to tackling child poverty. That's why we are investing, as I indicated in my original response, £768 million this year to support the delivery of over 8,000 affordable homes, with £16.3 million being made available in Aberdeen. Since the national housing emergency was declared, we've helped an estimated 2,669 households with children into affordable housing in the year ending December 24. And we introduced amendments to the Housing Scotland Bill that will broaden ministers' powers to impose timeframes on social landlords to investigate disrepair, such as damp and mould, and to start repairs, ensuring that homes are fit for purpose for families. And of course, this is before we even touch on the work the Government has done to support the cost of living and to prevent homelessness in the first place.
Thank you. Question number 8 has not been lodged, and that therefore concludes the portfolio questions this afternoon. And there'll be a short pause before we move on to the next item of business to allow frontbench teams to change position. Thank you.